This is a place for personal thoughts, so I have organized my thoughts on the current situation. It seems there could be a major war elsewhere, and I'm worried it might involve Korea. The reason is Russia and China's actions. Russia started the war, expecting to easily defeat Ukraine, but it has dragged on longer than expected with no sign of a truce. The United States, though not directly participating, supports Ukraine with weapons and supplies, as does the European Union. If Ukraine falls, it threatens their pride and they anticipate further attacks in Europe. Europe, therefore, is also significantly supporting Ukraine. Russia was caught off guard by this and resorted to energy and nuclear war threats, but achieving little, turned to China. China, engaged in an economic struggle with the US, doesn't want to escalate matters, yet finds it awkward to ignore another communist nation. Thus, China counters the US with the Taiwan issue. They aim to destabilize the US with this maneuver. However, the US has adeptly responded to both the Ukraine and Taiwan situations, leaving Russia with little gain. The problem then shifted unexpectedly. Several European Union countries pledged to support Ukraine with their outdated weapons, incentivized by priority access to purchase modern weapons from Germany, France, the UK, and the US at discounted prices. The issue is these countries aren't delivering on time or meeting quality expectations. Consequently, in Europe, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia, there's been a shift towards purchasing South Korean weapons, which offer quality comparable to German or American arms but at more reasonable prices. Deliveries are exceptionally prompt, and the quality surpasses expectations. The US, although reluctant to share the arms market, cannot object as South Korea is a vital ally covering areas beyond US reach. South Korea's entry into the arms market, particularly known for its loyalty during Russia's economic struggles and popularity from the Korean wave, presented an unexpected challenge for Russia, which they initially underestimated. Then, a conflict between Hamas and Israel erupted. The US, unable to ignore this development, was compelled to offer support, adding to its existing burdens. The Middle East remains a volatile region, with potential involvement from Iran, a US concern. When Iran and other Middle Eastern countries didn't intervene in the Israel-Hamas conflict, another issue emerged. Houthi rebels in Yemen began hijacking ships in the Red Sea and Arabian Sea. This, though not a new problem, has intensified, with the Houthi rebels receiving backing from Iran. Thus, US intervention inevitably leads to a confrontation with Iran, culminating in US and British forces commencing bombing campaigns. The US finds itself entangled in multiple situations, with arms supply increasingly burdensome for both Ukraine and Russia. European countries, facing delays in the EU's new weapons program, are turning to South Korean arms, driven by positive reviews. This increase in demand for South Korean weapons led Russia to seek weapon support and cooperation from China and even North Korea. Russia and China, likely irritated by South Korea's role, witnessed North Korea abruptly declaring the termination of peace treaties with South Korea and threatening nuclear attacks on South Korea, Japan, and the US. It specifically announced the possibility of reinitiating war with South Korea. This seems indicative of a covert agreement among Russia, China, and North Korea. Russia and China, lacking a pretext to confront South Korea, a nation globally esteemed for its cultural content, strategically utilize North Korea. By doing so, they create a scenario where they can indirectly exert pressure on the US and Japan. If North Korea initiates a war, China might seize Taiwan, and Russia might take control of Ukraine and push into other European nations. European countries, already weapon deficient, would be left vulnerable, especially as the US and Japan would be preoccupied with the conflict involving North Korea. China and Russia might have assured North Korea of a small territory under the Kim regime, even in the event of North Korean defeat. However, the fulfillment of such a promise remains questionable. I hope North Korea refrains from making such a reckless decision. With nothing to lose, North Korea will likely resort to nuclear weapons, potentially triggering a series of nuclear conflicts. Once one nation launches a nuclear attack, the probability of others following suit escalates dramatically. Now Russia closely work with China, Iran, North Korea, and BRICS countries. All those things looks connected with Russia. How do you think?